गुरवे नमः. Chaturdasha Vidya Sthanani. For examples of Vidhi, Nishedha. This is from division of Vedic statements. And respective Arthavada. Look at the following statements. Vidhi instruct to do. Arthavada extol the action. Speak the truth. Those who always tell the truth are trusted by others. Nishedha forbid to do. Arthavada condemn the action. Do not procrastinate. Those who procrastinate never succeed in life. Let us learn more about these three types of Vedic statements. Vidhis can be broadly classified into two types. Principal statements, Pradhan Vidhi, a statement that contains the main action, directly leading to a result. Example, the Vedic injunction, one should perform the homa called Agnihotra. This is a principal Vidhi but does not provide details of the home. Subordinate statement, Guna Vidhi, a statement that prescribes an action subordinate to the principal one, aiding in its completion. Example, in the context of Agnihotra, a subordinate statement such as one should perform the homa using coal specifies the details necessary for its proper execution, ultimately leading to the desired outcome, such as Swarga heaven. Substatement 1, subaction 1, substatement 2, subaction 2, substatement 3, subaction 3. Principal action, result. Let us take a mundane example. Consider the following statement. Let us watch a movie if tickets are available. What can be Pradhan and Guna here? For this, see the following list. Pradhana, watching a movie. Guna, obtaining tickets. Getting ready to go out. Arranging transport to the theatre. Do you know? Vidhis can also be classified into the following four categories. Utpatti Vidhi specifies the principal action to be performed. Viniyoga Vidhi prescribes subordinate actions that support the principal action. Prayoga Vidhi defines the sequence in which the actions should be performed. Adhikar Vidhi determines who is eligible to perform the action. Arthavada. We learn about Vidhis in some detail. We learnt about Vidhis in some detail. Nishedha is opposite to it as we saw earlier. Now let us move on to the third type of the Vedic statements called Arthavada. We have already seen that Arthavadas are statements which extol an action already prescribed by Vedas or condemn an action forbidden by it. In this way, they motivate or demotivate the performer. For example, one Vedic statement says, Vayu is the swiftest deity. It means that the yaga done for Vayu yields fast results. Hence, the purpose of this statement is to merely motivate the person to perform a yaga for Vayu. Do you know? A mother instilling healthy eating habits in her child often employs a twofold Arthavada. If you eat green leafy vegetables, you will develop immunity against diseases. If you do not, you will frequently suffer from fever and colds. This approach mirrors Arthavada in the Vedic tradition, where it serves to extol Vidhi prescribed actions and condemn Nisheda forbidden actions. Arthavada may contain both literal truths and hyperbolic statements. If interpreted literally in every instance, they may lead to incorrect conclusions and a misunderstanding of the intended meaning. Do it yourself. Now that we have explored the main divisions of Vedic statements, let us classify the above statements as Vidhi, Nisheda, or Arthavada. Generosity is the highest austerity. Bodhayana Dharmashastra 1.10.6. Early to bed and early to rise makes one healthy, wealthy, and wise. A popular proverb. Speak the truth, follow the law, Dharma. Taittiriya Upanishad 1.11.1. Ahimsa, non injury, is the greatest Dharma, frequent in the Mahabharata. If you excel in mathematics, engineering will be an easy career for you. Where women are honored, there the gods rejoice. Manava Dharma Shastra 3.56. All translations by Ganganath Jha. He shall say what is true, and he shall say what is agreeable. He shall not say what is true but disagreeable, nor shall he say what is agreeable but untrue. This is the eternal law. Manav Dharma Shastra 4.138. On the elder approaching, the vital breaths of the younger rush outward, and he recovers them by the act of rising to meet and salute him. Manav Dharma Shastra 2.120. The proper usage and understanding of even a single word yields all the desires in Sarga as well in this world. Mahabhashya 1 Anhika. As observed in the exercise, one text states that generosity is the highest austerity, while another proclaims that ahimsa is the greatest dharma. It is evident that these statements praise certain values in specific contexts and therefore cannot be considered vidhis. Instead, they serve as expressions of praise and condemnation of particular actions. Rules of interpretation. Now, let us examine some fundamental rules of interpretation developed by Mimamsa. These principles are not limited to yagas but can be applied in various other contexts as well. The first rule is the rule of popular meaning. According to the principle, the commonly accepted root meaning of a word takes precedence over its etymological yogic meaning. For instance, the etymological meaning of Pankaja is born in mud, which could refer to either a lotus or an insect. However, in popular usage, Pankaj exclusively denotes a lotus. Thus, its meaning is restricted to a lotus in conventional understanding, Rudhi. Do it yourself. Identify the popular and etymological meaning of the English word disaster, which meaning takes precedence over the other. Examine the popular and etymological meaning of the words in the following legal disputes. Observe how the principle of literal interpretation is applied. Dispute on the meaning of the word agricultural implements in UP State Agro Industrial Corporation Limited versus Kisan Upabhokta Parishad 2007. Link is given. Dispute on the meaning of the word floor in Commissioner of Customs Export 1 versus Morde Foods Private Limited 2020. We cannot always rely on the literal interpretation. At times, a literal interpretation may not align with the intended purpose prayojana, necessitating a purposive approach. For example, the Vedas present the following injunctions. One should perform the homa called Agnihotra. One should cook the barley. However, since cooked barley is required for performing the homa, it is necessary to rearrange the order of actions to serve the intended purpose. This illustrates that a strict literal interpretation is not always viable. Instead, the underlying purpose must be considered. Another significant principle concerns extension atidesha, as discussed in the chapter on Kalpa. The Vedas provide extensive details about certain yagas known as Prakruti. However, some yagas lack these details and are referred to as Vikruti. In such cases, necessary details from Prakriti must be extended to Vikruti. This process of extension is called Atidesha. Apurva. According to Mimamsa, one can attain Swarga by performing specific actions prescribed by the Vedas. These actions generate Apurva or Punya merit, which serves as the connecting link between the action Yaga and its result Sarga. The fruition of this merit occurs when the necessary conditions are met. Process, action, apurva or punya, instantly the result at the appropriate time. Do you know? It is commonly believed that Swarga Heaven is a realm above the earth where one enjoys sensory pleasures. However, Shabara, the commentator of the Mimamsa Sutra, refutes this notion. He establishes that happiness is Sarga and all seek that. Translation by P.V. Kane. Therefore, description of Swarga found in various texts, such as the Puranas, should be understood as Arthavada rather than literal accounts. The Puranas convey knowledge in an accessible manner, much like a friend offering guidance. They simplify complex ideas and use narratives to make philosophical concepts more comprehensible to the masses. Pramanas in Mimamsa. The four Pramanas of the Nyaya are also accepted by Mimamsa, with two additional Pramanas incorporated as outlined below. Arthapatti postulation. When two known facts are logically incompatible, we, prostitute, we postulate a third fact to reconcile them. The knowledge of these incompatible facts is known as Arthapatti Pramana, and it leads to the understanding of the inferred fact known as Arthapatti Jnana. Incompatible fact 1. Raj does not eat during the daytime. Incompatible fact 2. Yet he remains overweight. Conclusion: he must be overeating at night. Anuprabdhi, non-perception. This Praman enables the cognition of absence based on prior knowledge. Since sense organs cannot directly perceive absence, Pratyaksha Pramana perception is insufficient in such cases. Therefore, a separate Pramana, Anupalabdhi, is required to recognize non existence. For example, a person searching for his keys realizes my keys are not here. The awareness of that absence arises from Anupalabdhi Pramana. Conclusion: Mimamsa serves as a critical tool for interpreting the Vedas, which form the foundation of Sanatana Dharma. This is achieved through the rigorous methods of analysis developed within the Mimamsa tradition. Furthermore, Mimamsa extends beyond the realm of Vedic yagas and holds significant relevance in legal interpretation, as demonstrated through various legal cases and practical examples. The, this underscores the fact that Indian knowledge systems do not rigidly separate religious and secular domains but instead adopt a holistic approach to inquiry. Mimamsa exemplifies this in integrative perspective, offering multiples offering principles that are universally applicable across various fields of study. 3.4 Next section: Itihasa and Puranas. In many Indian languages, the word Itihasa is commonly used to history. However, in the present context, Itihasa specifically denotes the two great Indian epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. While Itihasa, like history, narrates events and describes people, its purpose is fundamentally different, distinguishing it from conventional historical needs. Conventional historical records. A well-known verse defines itihasa in the following manner. Dharmartha kama mokshanam upadesh samanvitam puravrittam kathayuktam itihasa prajakshate. As discussed in the chapter of Dharma Shastra, Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha are the four sutras are the four goals of human life, Purusharthas. In this sense, Itihasa presents a narration of the past through the lens of these Purusharthas, while the primary motivation behind historical study is also mere curiosity about the past. The purpose of Itihasa is to guide individuals in adhering to Dharma and progressing towards higher goals in life and beyond. In this way, Itihasa shapes both our conduct and our understanding of human life. Similarly, the Puranas serve this purpose by narrating stories of gods, sages, and great personalities. Why do we need Itihasas and Puranas? To study the Vedas, rigorous and disciplined learning is required. Vedic studies are traditionally reserved for those who demonstrate dedication and self discipline. However, there is a need to simplify the teachings of the Vedas so that their wisdom can be more accessible to the masses. This was the primary purpose of both the Itihasas and the Puranas. It is said that the Itihasas and Puranas serve to elaborate and expand upon the teachings of the Vedas. Itihasa Puranabhyam Vedartham Upabruhmayet. The Itihasas and Puranas act as companions to the Vedas, while the Vedas command us like a master to follow Dharma. The Itihasas and Puranas convey the same teachings in a more relatable manner, like a friend using stories, legends, and anecdotes. Due to their simplicity and widespread appeal, the Ramayana, Mahabharata, and the 18 Puranas have been an integral part of Indian household for centuries. Their values and narratives continue to be relevant even today. In the following chapters, we will explore these two great epics and the 18 Puranas in detail. Do it yourself. Itihasas, Puranas, and Bharata are deeply interconnected as the culture of Bharata is intrinsically linked to these texts. Their influence is evident in languages, festivals, art forms, sculpture, and various cultural expressions. Furthermore, their impact extends beyond the Indian subcontinent, particularly in Southeast Asia. Identify festivals that are associated with stories from the epics and Puranas. Explore art forms that draw inspiration from the narratives in the texts. Research temples where carvings and sculptures depict stories from the Itihasas and Puranas. 3.4.1 Ramayana यावत् स्थास्यन्ति गिरयः सरितश्च महीतले तावद् रामायणकथा लोकेषु प्रचलिष्यति. The theme of the Ramayana will continue to be popular in all the three worlds so long as humans and mountains and rivers will remain on the surface of the earth. Ramayana 1.2.36 and 37. All translations from Gita Press. Expected learning outcomes. At the end of the lesson, the students will be able to narrate the origin of Ramayana, list key incidents from the Ramayana, describe the significance of the Ramayana. We all have heard the story of Rama. Its widespread appeal is evident from the numerous retellings of Rama's retelling of Rama's story across various regional languages. But when and by whom was this great epic composed? The Ramayana is regarded as the first poem, Adi Kavya, composed by the revered sage Maharshi Valmiki, who is also known as the Adi Kavi, the pioneer among poets. Do you know what inspired Valmiki to compose the Ramayana? Let us explore the story behind the origin. Story Shlokatva Magataha. The grief came out. The grief came out as a verse. One day, the great sage Valmiki posed a question to Narada about Purushottama, the ideal man. In response, Narada narrated the story of Rama and his life before departing. seven volumes known as Kandas. It narrates the life of Rama across these seven sections. Balakanda. It describes the birth and childhood of Lord Rama. As the title suggests, some of the key events from this section include Rama was born in the Ikshwaku clan of Dasharatha and Kausalya in Ayodhya. He belonged to the Surya Vamsha. He had three younger brothers, Bharata, Lakshmana, and Shatrughna. The sage Valmiki took Rama and Lakshmana to his hermitage, where Rama protected his yajna from the demons Rakshasas. Rama broke the mighty bow of Lord Shiva and won the hand of Sita, the daughter of Janaka, the king of Mithila. Do you know? Sage Valmiki, in his question to Narad about the ideal person, enumerates 16 qualities that define such an individual. To explore these qualities, read the first chapter. His stepmother by his wife Sita and younger brother Lakshmana. A tribal leader welcomed and aided Ram in his further journey at the request of the sages. Ram eliminated numerous Rakshasas who harassed them during their religious observations. Ram settled near Panchavati, where he met Jatayu, a vulture and an old friend of his father. He encountered Shurpanakha and later destroyed 14,000 Rakshasas led by his brothers. Khara Dushana abduction. Ram visited Shabaris, while the second line contains the subjects. Each verb must be connected to its corresponding subject in sequence. This is an example of the figure of speech alankara known as yatha sankhya. Additionally, observe the alliteration of the sound anti in the first line, which is an example of anuprasa. Verbs for the subjects. Each verb must be connected to its corresponding subject in sequence. Yatha Sankhya. Figure of speech alankara. वहन्ति वर्षन्ति नदन्ति भान्ति ध्यायन्ति नृत्यन्ति समाश्वसन्ति नद्योघनामत्तगजावनान्ता या विहीना शिखिनप्लवङ्गमाः. 28.27 Kishkindha-kanda. Rivers rush onwards, clouds discharge their water, elephants in Rath trumpet. The forest regions assume a charming look. Lovers bereft of their loved ones remain immersed in their thoughts. Peacocks dance, and monkeys feel reassured due to abundance of fruit. Sundarkand, as the name suggests, it is an exceptionally beautiful volume that narrates the events following Hanuman's journey to Lanka and his discovery of Sita. Jambavan encourages Hanuman to recall his divine powers, enabling him to cross the ocean. He meets Sita and instills new hope in her. Displaying remarkable diplomacy, Hanuman gives Ravan a glimpse of Ram's power by setting Lanka ablaze. Hanuman returns to Ram and him about Sita. Do you know? The Sundarkand is renowned for its poetic beauty, justifying its title Sundar, which means beautiful. An example of this can be seen in the fifth chapter, where a verse vividly describes the moon at midnight when Hanuman arrived in Lanka. Notice the repetition of the sound arastha, which enhances its poetic charm. हंसो यथा राजतपञ्जरस्थः सिंहो यथा मन्दरकन्दरस्थः वीरो यथा गर्वितकुञ्जरस्थश्चन्द्रोऽपि बभ्राज तथाम्बरस्थः. The moon shone forth in the heavens much in the same way as a swan displays its charm in a silvery cage, as a lion in a cave of Mount Mandar, and as a hero mounted on a proud elephant. Yuddha Kanda. This section describes the war between Ram and Ravana, Ram's return to Ayodhya, and his rise to power. Ram reached the shore with his army and sought the approval of Samudra, the ocean god. He granted refuge to Vibhishan, Ravan's banished brother. Ram built a bridge over the ocean. He defeated Kumbhakarna and ultimately slew Ravana, securing victory in the war. Ram reunited with Sita and crowned Vibhishana as the king of Lanka. He returned to Ayodhya, where he was crowned king and ruled for many years. Do you know? We learn from about Hanuman's political acumen in the 17th chapter of Yuddha Kanda, as Vibhishan leaves Ravan's Lanka and approaches Ram for refuge. Sugriva, upon seeing a Rakshasa approaching their camp, warns others, saying, as there is natural enmity between crows and owls, so is between Ravana and us. Vibhishan might be a spy of Ravan and has come to know our secrets. Hence, he should be executed without hesitation. To resolve the matter, Ram seeks the opinion of his counselors and well-wishers. First, Angada opines that trust should not be placed in others easily. One must first evaluate both their good and bad qualities. Sharava suggests sending a spy to observe Vibhishan and determine his intentions. Jambavan expresses apprehension pointing out that Vibhishan has come directly from Ravan's palace given the circumstances. His arrival seems untimely, making it unwise to trust him. Finally, Ram seeks Hanuman's opinion, which proves to be crucial. Hanuman considers all the points raised, systematically refutes them, and presents his final analysis. Vibhishan's intentions cannot be determined without assigning him tasks and observing his actions. However, assigning tasks to a stranger immediately is not advisable. There is no need to send spies after him since he has presented himself openly. This is the right time and place for his arrival. He recognizes Ravan's unrighteousness and Ram's valor. He is aware that Ram defeated Vali and installed Sugriv as king. So he may have come seeking Ram's assistance to claim the throne of Lanka. After carefully listening to all viewpoints and Hanuman's well reasoned arguments, Ram decides to grant Vibhishan refuge. In contrast, Ravan disregarded the counsel of his ministers and well wishers who advised him against war. His refusal to listen ultimately led to his downfall. Uttarakanda. It is the epilogue of Ramayana. The life story of Ravana is described in detail. Ram performed the Ashwamedha Yajna, which was previously mentioned in the chapters on the Vedas. Lava and Kusha, the twin sons of Ram, narrate the story of the Ramayana in the royal assembly, where Ram recognizes them as his sons. Finally, the departure of Ram and Sita from this world is recounted. Significance of Ramayana. Ramayana is not merely a story. When examined from different perspectives, three distinct meanings emerge: the mundane, the ethical, and the philosophical. Let us explore each of these interpretations. On the mundane plane, Ramayana is a poem rich in poetic charm and an engaging narrative that transports us to another world. It features vivid descriptions of nature, sites, cities, cities and palaces. The text showcases remarkable political acumen and conversational skills, particularly in the character of Hanuman, as previously highlighted. Additionally, it offers keen observations of natural phenomena. For instance, it provides astronomical details regarding the time of Rama's birth, marriage, his journey on towards Lanka, and annihilation of Ravana. Do it yourself. Find out the astronomical details from the episodes mentioned above. In chapter 40 to 43 of Kishkinda Kand, Sugriv provides a geographical description of the four directions of Bharata. Read these chapters and identify the present day names of these locations. On the ethical plane, Ramayana represents eternal conflict between dharma and adharma, personified by Rama and Ravana respectively. Ultimately, dharma prevails over adharma, as will be seen in the Mahabharata as well. But how does one discern the nature of dharma? It is through the conduct of Rama that we understand what constitutes dharma. A well known saying advises one should live like Rama and not like Ravana. Rama never on the philosophical plane. Rama is the Paramatman Supreme Self who incarnates as a human to eradicate adharma and establish dharma. Just as he gave shelter to Vibhishan, aided Sugriv in reclaiming his kingdom, and protected innocent sages from the harassment of Rakshasas, Ram also extends his grace to his devotees. This symbolism imbues the Ramayana with a profound devotional appeal. It is no surprise that the Ramayana has been retold and adapted in various regional languages, providing spiritual strength to India in both prosperous and challenging times. Do you know? In Vaishnava philosophy, the highest form of surrender to the Lord is known as prapatti. Vibhishana surrenders to Ram, and Ram's acceptance of him serves as serves as the quintessential example of prapatti. In this context, the following declaration of Rama from the Ramayana stands as the hallmark of prapatti and the boundless grace of the Lord. सकृदेव प्रपन्नाय तवास्मीति च याचते अभयं सर्वभूतेभ्यो ददाम्यतद्व्रतं मम. युद्धकांड 18.33. I vouchsafe security against all living beings to him who comes to me only once and seeks protection from me, saying, I am yours. Such is my vow. Conclusion. Ramayana in a single verse. The whole Ramayana can be described in one verse. Adau Ramatapovanadigamanam Hatva Mrugam Kanchanam Vaidehi Haranam Jatayumaranam Sugriva Sambhashanam Vali Nirdalanam Samudra Lankapuri Dahanam Paschadravanakumbhakarnahanam Etadhi Ramayanam. First, Ram went into exile. He then pursued and killed the golden deer, which led to the abduction of Sita, Vaidehi, and the demise of Jatayu. Rama forged an alliance with Sugriv and defeated Vali. Hanuman crossed the ocean, found Sita, and set the city of Lanka ablaze. Subsequently, Ram vanished Kumbhakarna and ultimately slew Ravana. Thus unfolded the epic of the Ramayana. Do it yourself. Various differences exist between Valmiki's Ramayana and its regional adaptations. Conduct a class discussion to compare Valmiki's Ramayana with any one of its regional versions. For a comprehensive list of different Ramayanas, refer to the appendix. Additionally, organize a debate on the following topic. Is it necessary to reinterpret and reimagine classics such as the Ramayana and the Mahabharata to for modern audiences? Appendix: Regional versions of the Ramayana. Andhra Pradesh Ranganatha Ramayana, 14th century. Mulla Ramayana, 16th century. Tamil Ramavataram, Kamba Ramayanam, 12th century. Kannada Pampa Ramayana, 11th century. Torve Ramayana, 16th century. Kumudendu Ramayanam, 13th century. Assamese Saptakanda Ramayana, 14th century. Bengali Krittivasi Ramayana, 15th century. Odia Dandi Ramayana, Jagamohan Ramayana, 16th century. Marathi Bhavartha Ramayana, 16th century. Awadhi Ramacharita 16th century. Malayalam Adhyatma Ramayana, Kilipattu Ram, 16th century. Next, Mahabharata 3.4.2 Mahabharata. ऊर्ध्वबाहुविरौम्यैष न च कश्चित् शृणोति मे धर्मादर्थश्च कामश्च स किमर्थं न सेव्यते. Mahabharata 18.5.49. The plight of Vyasa. I shout aloud with my arms in the air, but no one hears me out. It is Dharma which gives Artha and Kama. Yet, why do not people follow that Dharma? Expected learning outcomes. At the end of the lesson, the students will be able to know about the origin of the Mahabharata, list out the incidents from the Mahabharata, describe the significance of Mahabharata. Introduction. Mahabharata is a compilation of 1 lakh verses, hence it is known as Shatasahasri. Vyasa composed this great epic chronicling the war between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. 3 generations later, King Janamejaya, eager to learn about his illustrious ancestors, requested the sage Vaishampayana to narrate the epic to him. Subsequently, while the sage Shaunaka was performing a 12-year-long yajna, Ugrasravas recounted the story to the assembled sages. This is how this monumental tale was transmitted through generations. Do you know how Vyasa managed to compose such a vast and intricate work? Let us explore the following story to understand this fascinating account. Story: How Ganpati became Ekadanta. The sage Vyas had composed the Mahabharata in his mind and was contemplating how to transmit it to the future generations. Pleased with his devotion, Lord Brahma appeared and blessed him. He asked him, advising him to seek Lord Ganapati as his scribe. Vyasa meditated on Ganapati, who promptly appeared before him. Ganapati agreed to write the epic but set a condition: his name should never stop writing until the entire work is completed. Vyasa, demonstrating his wisdom, countered with his own condition that Ganapati should not write down hours without first fully understanding its meaning. Both agreed to these terms. Whenever Vyasa needed a brief respite, he would compose a complex verse that would take Ganapati some time to comprehend. This allowed Vyas moments of pause while ensuring that the epic was recorded seamlessly. Can you guess what was used as the writing instrument? It was Ganapati's own broken tusk. Recognizing the need for a fitting pen to inscribe such a vast composition in a single flow, he broke off his tusk and used it. This is one of the many legends explaining why Ganpati is called Ekadanta, the one with a single tusk. The story of Mahabharata. The 1 lakh verses of this epic are divided into 18 books, parvas, which are as follows. Pre-war parvas, Adi Parva. This parva begins with the description of how the Mahabharata was written. It continues with the narration of the childhood rivalry between Pandavas and Kauravas, who are cousins. The Pandavas eventually marry Draupadi. Sabha Parva, this Parva, details the crowning of Yudhishthira as king and his performance of the Rajasuya Yajna. It also covers the infamous game of dice between Yudhishthira and Duryodhana, which leads to the exile of the Pandavas. Vanaparva, this Parva narrates various encounters of the Pandavas during their exile, including Arjuna's meeting with Shiva in the form of a Kirata hunter, Bhim's encounter with Hanuman, the story of Sagara, the tale of Nala, and a retelling of the Ramayana, particularly the story of Rama. Story. The question of the Yaksha. In the Vanaparva of the Mahabharata, a Yaksha appears before the younger Pandavas as they approached a water body to drink, instructing them to answer his questions before drinking the water. However, they ignore his warning and as a consequence lose their lives. Later, Yudhishthir arrives in search of his brothers and encounters the Yaksha, who tests him by asking more than 100 questions to assess his wisdom and patience. Yudhishthir answers all the questions correctly. Please refer to the appendix, page 184. Interpreted. Impressed by his knowledge, the Yaksha offers to revive only one of his brothers. Yudhishthir chooses Nakula. When asked about his reasoning, he explains that he wishes both of his mothers, Kunti and Madri, to have at least one surviving son as he himself is Kunti's son. He desires that Madri's lineage also continues through Nakula, moved by Yudhishthir's unwavering adherence to Dharma. The Yaksha restores and leaves of all the brothers. The Yaksha then reveals himself to be Dharma personified, Yudhishthir's divine father, who had come to test him. This episode is famously known as Yaksha Prashna. See appendix for all the questions and the insightful answers given by Yudhishthira. Virat Parva. This Parva narrates the final year of the Pandavas' exile, during which they live incognito in the kingdom of Virata. Udyoga Parva. This Parva details the preparations of war for war. Lord Krishna attempts to broker peace with the Kauravas, but is unsuccessful. Ultimately, both armies march towards the battlefield. War Parva, Yuddha Parva, Bhishma Parva. This section contains the timeless Bhagavad Gita. This Parva describes the war up to the disarming of Bhishma and Arjun's attaining victory over him. This covers the first 10 days of the battle. Story. Krishna's song on the battlefield upon realizing that he must fight against his own brothers, elders, and teachers. Arjuna falls into despair and confusion. His body begins to tremble, his hands shake, and his face turns pale. Overcome with grief, he abandons his weapons. Witnessing Arjun's inner turmoil in the midst of battle, Krishna reassures him, dispelling his doubts and confusion. He proclaims, "Set aside thoughts of victory or defeat and prepare to fight." This discourse of Krishna is widely known as the Bhagavad Gita, consisting of 18 chapters. It is not only a source of psychological insight but also profound philosophical wisdom. Drona Parva. This section covers the next 5 days of the war, culminating in the death of Drona. It includes the tragic demise of Abhimanyu, the son of Arjun. Enraged by this loss, Bhima embarks on a fierce rampage, slaughtering the Kauravas in vengeance. Karna Parva. This Parva narrates the events of the following 2.5 days of the battle, concluding with the death of Karna. Shalya Parva. This Parva details the final phase of the war, during which the Kaurava army is led by Shalya. After slaying all the Kaurava brothers, Bhima shatters the thigh of Duryodhana, thus bringing the war to an end. Sauptika Parva. Ashwatthama launches a ruthless assault on the Pandava army at night while they are asleep. In a grievous mistake, he brutally kills the 5 sons of Draupadi, believing them to be the 5 Pandavas. Post-war Parvas. Stri Parva. This Parva recounts the return of the Pandavas to Hastinapur after their victory in the war. It vividly portrays the immense grief of the widows, mothers, and other women who have lost their loved ones in battle. Shanti and Anushasan Parva. In these sections, Bhishma, lying on his deathbed, delivers discourses on all aspects of Dharma. Following his departure from this world, Yudhishthir is crowned king, making the establishment of Dharma. Ashwamedhik Parva. Yudhishthir performs the renowned Ashwamedha Yajna. This Parva details the vast extent of his empire, his allies, and the territories he has conquered. Ashramavasika Parva. Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, the parents of the Kauravas, along with Kunti and Vidura, renounce the comforts of the kingdom and retreat to the forest. Mausala Parva. This Parva describes the destruction of the Yadu dynasty due to internal conflicts among the Yadavas. Ultimately, Lord Krishna departs from the earth. Mahaprasthanika Parva. The Pandavas and Draupadi renounce the kingdom, and Parikshit ascends the throne. Along their journey, Draupadi and the Pandavas, except Yudhishthir, pass away. Yudhishthir then encounters Indra and Dharma and ascends to Swarga in his human form. Swargarohana Parva. Yudhishthir journeys through Naraka and Swarga, experiencing both realms. Eventually, he transcends his mortal form and returns with Lord Krishna. Reunites with Lord Krishna, Arjun, and all others in their original divine forms. He also encounters the Kaurava army. With this, Vyasa brings the epic to the conclusion. Significance of the Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata, the sheer number of characters and incidents is so vast that one can easily become lost in its depth. How then can we make sense of this great epic which comprises 1 lakh verses, much like the Ramayana, when we analyze the Mahabharata from different perspectives? Three distinct planes of meaning emerge: the mundane, the ethical, and the philosophical. On the mundane plane, it is the story of the rivalry between the unrighteous Kauravas and the righteous Pandavas, who are aided by Lord Krishna. The narration is filled with vivid descriptions and poetic charm, transporting readers into an entirely new world. And the dynamic interplay of characters and even events further enhances its appeal, as the renowned Mahabharat scholar V.S. Suktankar aptly observes. In Yudhishthir, we find charity, peace, and self control, leaning towards weakness and ineptitude, ineptitude in Duryodhan, determination combined with envy, hate, cruelty, and unscrupulousness. Unscrupulousness in Bhima, recklessness and wild impetuosity. In Arjun, dignity, chivalry, and prudent heroism. In Karna, pride, arrogance, and malignity, with a strange streak of generosity. In Dhritarashtra, pernicious weakness and complaisance. In Shakuni and Dushasan, unmitigated weakness and audacity. In Vidura and Drona, sense of justice and loyalty. In Bhishma, nobility, benevolence, asceticism, and detachment. In Draupadi, gracious womanhood, staunch loyalty, and purity of character. Do it yourself for a deeper understanding of significant and often misunderstood characters such as Bhishma and Karna. Refer to the second lecture, pp 45 to 60, of On the Meaning of the Mahabharata by V.S. Suktankar. Select any one character from the Mahabharata and analyze his or her strength and weaknesses. Present your findings in a structured manner, highlighting their virtues, flaws, and overall significance within the epic. Beyond the appeal of its characters, the Mahabharata offers profound wisdom on various practical matters, including governance and administration. Bhishma delivered an extensive discourse on these subjects while lying on the deathbed. The epic also provides insights into peace negotiations as exemplified by Lord Krishna's diplomatic efforts with the Kauravas. His exceptional oratory skills in conveying message, critical messages are prominently displayed. In conveying critical messages are prominently displayed. Additionally, the text contains numerous references to planetary positions and omens, These are some of the many practical aspects explored within the epic. On the ethical plane, the Mahabharata reflects the eternal conflict between dharma and adharma, between right and wrong. The Pandavas are incarnations of Devas, while the Kauravas are incarnations of the Asuras. Distressed by the Kauravas are incarnations distressed by the tyranny of demonic rulers. The earth pleads with Lord Vishnu for relief. Moved by compassion, Vishnu takes birth among the Yadavas as Krishna. In this timeless struggle, adharma, okay, adharma ultimately triumphs over uh, dharma ultimately triumphs over adharma. Yato dharmas tato jayah. This is the central message of the Mahabharata. However, how does the how does one determine what dharma truly is? As previously discussed, the knowledge contained in the Dharma Shastra can be challenged from for the common reader to comprehend, yet an understanding of Dharma is essential for leading a righteous life. The Mahabharata, along with the Ramayana, conveys the essence of Dharma Shastra through compelling stories and anecdotes that are accessible to all. To fulfill this purpose, the Vana, Shanti, and Anushasan Parvas offer profound expositions on Dharma in the form of discourses, dialogue, and narratives. Finally, on the metaphysical plane, the Mahabharata represents the battle between the higher and lower nature of the individual self, symbolized by the Pandavas and Kauravas for sovereignty over the Pandavas. Sovereignty over the kingdom of body, Kshetra, Krishna, the Supreme Self, Paramatman, guides Arjun. The individual self, Jivatman, helps him gain insight into Arjun, thus the individual self, Jivatman, helping him gain insight into his true nature. Ultimately, Krishna enables Arjun to conquer his lower nature, which manifests as desires and doubts on the battlefield. Krishna instructs Arjun to first vanquish the enemies within himself. Bhagavad Gita 3.41 and 43. Papmanam prajahiyanam jnana vijnana nasanam jahi shatrum mahavaho kamarupam durasadam. Slay this sinful destroyer of wisdom and discrimination. Smite, O mighty armed Arjun, the enemy in the form of desire so hard to get at. Translation by V.S. Suktankar. In short, it is this three-dimensional nature of Mahabharata that makes it a work appealing to all kinds of readers. For for casual readers, it is a captivating story. For those who seek to lead a righteous life, it serves as an exposition of Dharma. Finally, for those in pursuit of spiritual upliftment, it provides the means to realize the fundamental unity of Jivatman and Paramatman, as the Mahabharata declares for itself. धर्मे चार्थे च कामे च मोक्षे च भरतर्षभ यदि हास्ति तदन्यत्र यन्नेहास्ति न तत्क्वचित्. बीजी बात. 1.56.33. With regards to dharma, artha, kama and moksha, what is in this work may be found elsewhere, but what is not in this work is to be found nowhere. Translation by P.V. Suktankar. Do it yourself. Discuss the relevance of the Mahabharata. Is it merely a tale of familial conflict, or does it hold a deeper significance? Conclusion. Mahabharata is a single verse. Mahabharata in a single verse. The entire Mahabharata can be summarized in a single verse as follows. आदौ पाण्डवधार्तराष्ट्रजननं लाक्षागृहे दाहनं दूतं श्रीहरणं वने विहरणम् अस्यालये वर्तनं लीलागोग्रहणं रणे विहरणं सन्धिक्रियाजृम्भणम् पश्चाद्भीष्मसुयोधनादिनिधनं एतन्महाभारतम्. एक श्लोकी महाभारत. First the Pandavas and Kauravas were born, followed by the burning of the Lakh Palace. These incidents were succeeded by the game of dice, the disrobing of Draupadi and the exile of the Pandavas, during which they lived in the kingdom of Virata. Subsequently, the Pandavas retrieved the stolen cows, leading to the great battle with the Kauravas. A proposal for a peace treaty was sent, yet war ensued, culminating in the deaths of Bhishma and Suyodhan. This is, in essence, is the Mahabharata. Appendix. The Yaksha Prashna contains more than 120 questions. Some selected questions from the Yaksha Prashna, Vanaparva 314.45 to 121 are listed below. What is the sacrificial Sama? Life. What is the sacrificial Yajus? Mind. What accompanies the sacrifice? Ruk. What is it without which a sacrifice cannot happen? Ruk. What gives The best when it falls. Rain. What is the best when you let it settle down? Sea. What is heavier than earth? A mother. What is higher than the sky? A father. What is faster than wind? The mind. What is more numerous than grass? One's thoughts. What doesn't close eyes while sleeping? Fish. What is that which doesn't move after birth? Eggs. And what increases with one's own force? A stream, river. Who is the friend of dying person? Charity. What is the highest attribute of religion? Ability to provide the best guidance. What is the highest attribute of the one having fame? Charity. What is the highest attribute of heaven? Truth. What is the best way to get happiness? By good conduct. What is the man's best refuge? Charity. What is the best among all that is praiseworthy? Skillfulness. What is the best gain? Good health. What is the best sort of happiness? Contentment. What is the highest duty in the world? Non-cruelty to all. What What is the best when controlled the mind? Which friendship should we never break? Friendship with righteousness. By renouncing what? Does one become dear to all? His sense of pride. By renouncing what? Does one not weep? Anger. By renouncing what? Does one become wealthy? Desire. By renouncing what? Does one become happy? Greed. And what are the characteristics of austerity? Following one's duty and dharma. What are the characteristics of self control? The control over one's mind. What are the characteristics of forgiveness, tolerance, and of the enmity? What are the characteristics of shame or guilt? Refrainment from wrongdoings. What is real tranquility? Peacefulness of the mind. What is true kindness? Being good and compassionate. What is true simplicity? Having a balanced mind. What is the worst enemy of a man? Anger. What is a man's unending disease? Envy. Who are good and honest men? One who is friendly to all creatures. Who are the dishonest men? The one who is cruel. What is ignorance? Absence of dharma and spirituality. What is pride? Valuing one's mind over one's actual self. What is understood by idleness? Inactivity in dharma. What is grief? Ignorance. What is patience? Controlling one's senses and tendencies. What is the highest ablution? Purification and the senses. What is charity? Purification of the mind. What is charity? Safeguarding all creatures. What is pride? Having great knowledge yet being ignorant. What is hypocrisy? Hypocrisy, putting up a fake show of dharma. Fake show of dharma. What makes a person a Brahman? Is it by birth, by good character, or by study of Vedas, or something else? Neither birth of great knowledge makes one a Brahman. It is only by God's It is only by good conduct that one is a Brahman. A Brahman must maintain his character carefully. He should not be wicked. He should have control over his desire and passions. He should be obtained. He shouldn't be ignorant. What does a person who speaks sweet to all gain? Becomes dear to all. What does the virtuous one gain? Clarity and direction. What is marvelous? The desire of the beings to remain immortal, despite knowing the seeing, despite knowing and seeing the innumerable people dying. What are the true paths? तर्को प्रतिष्ठश्रुतयो विभिन्न नैको ऋषिर्यस्य मतं प्रमाणं धर्मस्य तत्त्वं निहितं गुहायां महाजनो येन गतस्य पन्थाः. Even the Vedas have different opinions, not a single Rishi agrees with the other's opinion. The secrets of Dharma remain hidden. Thus, only the paths that have been followed by great men can be a true one. What is a man enriched with all wealth? A man who treats with happiness and sorrow, greed, agree and disagree, and past and future all equally, is enriched with all sorts of wealth. Puranas विस्ताराय च वेदानां स्वयं नारायणः प्रभुः व्यासरूपेण कृतवान् पुराणानि महितले. Descending on earth as Vyas, Lord Narayan himself composed the Puranas to expound the Vedas, a popular verse. Expected learning outcomes. At the end of the lesson, the students will be able to define the meaning and scope of the Puranas, understand the content of the Puranas, describe the significance of the Puranas, explain the connection between the Puranas and the Vedas. As children, we all grew up listening to stories, folklore, and legends. These tales captivated us so deeply that we remember them even today. We, our parents, and grandparents passed them down through generations. But where do these stories originated? The primary source of many such narratives is the Puranas, which we will explore in this chapter. It is said that Sage Vyas composed the Puranas to make the message of the Vedas accessible to the common reader. What are Puranas? सर्गश्च प्रतिसर्गश्च वंशो मन्वन्तराणि च वंशानुचरितं चैव पुराणं पंचलक्षणम्. This is a well-known verse that outlines the five defining characteristics of the Puranas. Sarga, this section of the Purana explains the origin and creation of the universe. Pratisarga, it details the process of secondary creations and the dissolution of the universe. Vamsha, it describes the genealogy of great kings, sages, and gods. Manvantara, it refers to the origin and reign of Manu, the progenitor of mankind. The role of one Manu spans over one Manvantara, which is the cosmic unit of time. Each Manvantara is presided over by a different Manu. Do you know? Manvantara as cosmic unit of time. One human year, one divine day and night, 360 divine days and night, one divine year, 12,000 divine years, one Chaturyuga, 71 Chaturyugas, one Manvantara, 1,000 Chaturyugas, 14 Manvantara, one day of Brahma. Vanshanucharitam, it provides details of the three principal dynasties, namely Surya Vamsha, Chandra Vamsha, and Agni Vamsha. Do you know? The following are the names of renowned descendants of these dynasties: Rama, Sagar, Ikshvaku, Surya Vamsha, Pandava, Krishna, Kuru, Chandra Vamsha. The 18 Mahapuranas. The major Puranas are 18 in number. Their names are as follows: 1 Matsya Puran, 2nd Markandeya Puran, 3rd Bhagavata Puran, 4 Bhavishya Puran, 5 Brahma Puran, 6 Brahma Vaivarta Puran, 7 Brahmanda Puran, 8 Vamana Puran, 9 Varaha Puran, 10 Vayu Puran, Shiva Puran, 11 Vishnu Puran, 12 Narada Puran, 13 Linga Puran, 14 Padma Puran, 15 Agni Puran, 16 Kurma Puran, 17 Skanda Puran, 18 Garuda Puran. Some scholars considered Shiva Puran to be a part of 18 Mahapuranas, while others regard the Vayu Purana as the part of this group. Both perspectives have been taken into consideration. Similarly, scholars opine that Devi Bhagavat and Srimad Bhagavat together constitute Bhagavat Purana. Do you know? There is a popular verse that helps in quickly recalling the names of the Mahapuranas. Madvayam, Bhadvayam, Chaiva, Bradvayam, Vachatuštayam, Anapalinga, Puskani, Puranani Prachakshate. 2 Puranas start with the letter Ma, 2 with Bha, 3 with Bra, 4 with Va, 1 each with A, Na, Pa, Li, Ga, Ku, and Ska. All these together are recognized as the Mahapuranas. Classification of the Mahapuranas. These Puranas can be further classified into 3 main categories. Satvika, these Puranas glorify Vishnu, Bhagavata, Narada, Garuda, Padma, and Varaha Puranas come under this. Rajasika, these Puranas are related to Brahma, Bhavishya, Brahmavaivarta, Brahmanda, Markandeya, and Vamana Puranas come under this. Tamasika, these Puranas glorify Shiva, Shiva Linga, Skanda, Agni, Matsya, and Kurma Puranas come under this. Upapuranas and Sthala Puranas. There are 18 well known Upapuranas. In addition to this, there are hundreds of smaller texts known as Sthala Puranas, which narrate popular stories of deities, temples, and pilgrimages associated with various towns and villages. Do you know? The Purana literature comprises nearly 4 lakh verses, encompassing only the 18 Mahapuranas. Significance of Puranas. To understand the different layers of meaning inherent in the Ramayana and Mahabharata, we employed 3 distinct perspectives of analysis. The same approach can be applied to the Puranas. Let us examine the Puranas through each of these perspectives. On the mundane plane, the Puranas contain captivating stories that impart worldly wisdom while transporting readers to a different realm through vivid descriptions of humans, gods, places, and events. They also exhibit keen observations of natural phenomena. Some Puranas include astronomical insights such as details about planets, nakshatras, and the division of time. The concept of Manvantara has already been introduced with further elaboration provided in the chapter of Jyotish. Additionally, certain Puranas discuss subjects such as food, medicine, and political thought. Many art forms, sculptures, iconography, and popular festivals have their origins in the Puranas, as will be explored later in this chapter. On the ethical plane, the Puranas illuminate the nature of Dharma through questions, dialogues, discourses, and narratives that resonate with ordinary readers and listeners. While Dharma Shastra conveys moral injunctions in an authoritative manner, Prabhu Samhita, Prabhu Samhita, the Puranas present Dharma in an engaging and accessible style, akin to a friend, Mitra Samhita. Through this approach, profound ethical values were effectively disseminated to the masses in the form of engaging stories. Dharmic practices including pilgrimages, tirtha, austerities, vrata, and charitable giving dana. Do you know? In his book Fundamental Unity of India, Radha Kumud Mukherjee highlights how the concept of pilgrimage serves as a unifying force across India. For instance, there are 7 sacred mountains, 7 sacred pilgrimages that grant liberation, 12 Jyotirlingas of Lord Shiva, and 51 sacred sites dedicated to Devi. These holy places are distributed across the country, fostering a sense of unity among devotees from different regions of India. On the philosophical plane, Puranas explain the concept of the Supreme Being Paramatman through the Trimurti Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. In doing so, they acknowledge and celebrate the diversity of worship traditions. The Puranas guide seekers on the path of realizing the highest truth through various spiritual practices, and philosophical insights. The various the Bhagavad Mahapuran states that the primary techniques of the Puranas revolve around spiritual knowledge, vijnana, and detachment from worldly passions, vairagya. The numerous stories within these texts serve as vehicles for conveying this profound wisdom. कथाइमास्ते कथिता महीयसां विताय लोकेषु यशः परेयुषां विज्ञानवैराग्यविवक्षया विभो वचोर्विभूतिर्न तु पारमार्थ्यम्. I have narrated these stories of great individuals who spread their fame in this world and departed. My intention was to expound knowledge and renunciation. Though these stories add beauty to the narration, they in themselves do not constitute the true purport of it. In a nutshell, Puranas elucidate the means of attaining four goals, Purusharthas of human existence, namely Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. In this way, they possess an encyclopedic nature encompassing vast knowledge across various domains. The Puranas serve as invaluable repositories of Indian art, values, tradition, sciences, and spirituality, preserving and transmitting this rich heritage through generations. How practices and festivals emanate from Puranas? The Puranas contain numerous stories that, that explain various religious practices and the celebration of festivals. These narratives not only provide the historical and mythological context of these observances but also impart moral and spiritual lessons. Below, we explore two such examples. Why is the Ketaki flower not offered to Lord Shiva? According to the Shiva Puran, there was once a quarrel between Brahma and Vishnu regarding their mutual superiority. To resolve the dispute, Lord Shiva appeared as an endless pillar of light known as the Lingodbhava. Neither Brahma nor Vishnu could determine its limits, so they decided to search for its top and bottom. The one who succeeded would be considered superior. Vishnu assumed the form of a boar Varaha and dug deep into the earth. Brahma transformed into a swan and flew upwards. After much effort, Vishnu returned, admitting his failure to find the base. Brahma, however, encountered a Ketaki flower falling from the top of the pillar. Upon inquiry, the flower revealed that it had fallen from Lord Shiva's head. When he laughed at the futile attempts of Brahma and Vishnu, Brahma, eager to claim victory, convinced the Ketaki flower to be a false witness, stating that he had seen the top of the pillar. When they returned, Vishnu truthfully admitted his failure, but Brahma deceitfully declared that he had reached the top with the Ketki flower as his witness. At this moment, Lord Shiva revealed his true form. He was pleased with Vishnu's honesty and granted him equal status in worship. However, he was enraged by Brahma's deception and cursed him, declaring that he would not be worshipped on earth. He also cursed the Ketaki flower forbidding its use in worship. This legend explains why the ketki flower is not never offered to Lord Shiva. Similarly, many other customs and rituals, such as breaking a coconut before an auspicious event, performing home sacred fire rituals to remove obstacles, and observing fasts like Ekadashi and various vratas originate from the Puranas. Do it yourself. Find out why Tulsi is regarded as auspicious. What is the story behind it as narrated in the Puranas? Why is Deepavali celebrated? This festival is celebrated to approximately for approximately 5 days across various parts of the country. The Matsya Purana states Deep Deepair Nira Nirajana Datra Deepair Nirajana Datra Saisha Deepavali Smrita, which means that the festival of Deepavali derives its name from the lighting of lamps. Let us explore the significance of each day of Deepavali. It begins on the 13th day, Trayodashi of the dark fortnight, Krishna Paksha in the month of Kartik. Dhanatrayodashi, Padma Puran states that observing this day prevents untimely death. It is also believed that to be the day when Lord Dhanvantari emerged from the churning of the Milky Ocean. Samudra Manthan, carrying a pot of nectar. Naraka Chaturdashi. This day marks the victory of Lord Krishna over Narakasur. After slaying the demon, Krishna returned to Dwarka, his body smeared with blood. He was then given a ceremonial oil bath. Even today, the tradition of applying oil and taking a bath is observed on this day. Lakshmi Puja, the Amavasya new moon following Naraka Chaturdashi, is dedicated to Lakshmi Puja. Devotees observe a day long fast and perform the puja with great reverence in the evening. Bali Pratipada, the next day, known as Pratipada, the first day of the bright fortnight or Shukla Paksha, is believed to be the day when Mahabali returns to visit his people. Devotees take a ritualistic bath, wear new clothes, and eagerly await his arrival. The story of Bali and Vaman is recounted in several Puranas. On this day, Govardhana Puja is also observed. Do it yourself. Research the story in which Lord Krishna lifted Govardhana mountain. Explore its significance and how it is connected to Govardhana Puja. Yama Dvitiya. The following day, Dvitiya, is known as Yama Dvitiya. This festival marks the occasion when Yama, the god of death, visits his sister Yamuna. The celebration, also known as Bhai Dooj, symbolizes the bond between brothers and sisters. It bears resemblance to Raksha Bandhana as it reinforces sibling relationships through rituals and festivities. Do it yourself. Choose a popular festival and explore the stories associated with it as narrated in the Puranas. To gain deeper insights into Indian festivals, refer to Dr. V. Raghavan's book Festivals, Sports and Pastimes of India. Puranas as expounding the message of the Vedas. इतिहासपुराणाभ्यां वेदं समुपबृंहयेत् बिभेत्यल्पश्रुताद् वेदो मामयं प्रहरिष्यति. The Itihasas and Puranas elucidate and illustrate Vedic statements, facilitating a better understanding as stated in a popular verse. Let us explore the connection between the Vedas and the Puranas. The Puranas serve as a continuation of the Vedic tradition. The first five incarnations of Lord Vishnu, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha, and Vaman, each have an individual Purana dedicated to them. Their origins can also be traced back to references in the Vedas. Likewise, the worship of Lord Shiva is an extension of the veneration of Rudra as mentioned in the Vedas. Do it yourself. To learn about Rudra as mentioned in the Vedas and the Puranic Shiva, refer to the following lectures. Link is given. The Puranas convey the message of the Vedas through engaging stories. The Vedas impart dharmic values such as truthfulness and non-violence. To emphasize these principles, the Puranas narrate stories that have become integral to daily discourse. They amount the tales of the sage Dadhishi and King Shibi, who sacrificed their lives for the welfare of others. The story of Bali underscores the virtue of generosity and charity. Likewise, the stories of Savitri and Madalasa exemplify ideal womanhood. Conclusion. The Puranas extend the knowledge of the Vedas for the comprehension of common readers. For this reason, they are regarded as the fifth Veda. We have explored the scope, classification, and significance of the Puranas. This vast body of literature is rich in wisdom and various worldly subjects and serves as a guide to dharma and spiritual upliftment. Furthermore, many of our cultural and religious practices originate from the Puranas. In essence, the Puranas function as an encyclopedia of India, encompassing knowledge of both the material world and realms beyond human perception. The Ramayana and the Mahabharata not only borrowed heavily from the Puranas that existed during the time of their composition, but also greatly influenced and gave birth to new Puranas, legends, and stories. The stories further became the ingredients for the creative imagination of later Puranas and storytellers. Thus, the character created in a characters created in a certain yuga fear the imagination of bards in the following yuga, century, or millennium. S.L. Bhairappa in the foreword of evolution of the Mahabharata. Bibliography Mahadevan B. Introduction to Indian Knowledge System Concept and Application Delhi PHI Learning Private Limited Sharma Bellicott Ramachandra Jaiminia Arshaya Jaiminia Upanishad Brahmanas Tirupati Kendriya Sanskrit Vidyapith 1984 Kashyap R.L. Atharvaveda Bangalore Sri Aurobindo Kapali Shastri Institute of Vedic Culture 2011 मुसळगावकर गजानन शास्त्री वैदिक साहित्य का इतिहास वाराणसी चौखंबा चौखंबा संस्कृत संस्थान 2009 वेलणकर HD ऋक्सूक्त शती बॉम्बे भारतीय विद्याभवन 1972 देशपांडे इंदू सी द अरण्यकास अ क्रिटिकल स्टडी न्यू दिल्ली आदर्श संस्कृत शोध संस्थान 2008 अय्यर BR Rajam Rambles in Vedanta MLBD Delhi 4th reprint 2015-19 1946 Radhakrishnan Sarvapalli The Principal Upanishads New Delhi HarperCollins India 2006 Ram Tulsi Rigved Ajmer Paropakarini Sabha 2013 Ram Tulsi Yajurveda Ajmer Paropakarini Sabha 2013 पोद्दार हनुमान प्रसाद कल्याण वेदकथांक गोरखपुर गीता प्रेस 2015 मुखर्जी राधा कुमुद फंडामेंटल यूनिटी ऑफ इंडिया राजस्थान बेंगलुरु 2021 झा गंगानाथ अनुस्मृति with the Manubhashya of Medhatithi 10 volumes Delhi Motilal Banarasi Das 1999 Dikshita Srinivas Bharatiya Tattvajnana Marathi Fadke Prakashan Kolhapur 2010 Dalai B.K. Mode 1979 Shastri Meher Chandra Karthik Sharma Argumentation and Debate Karthik Sharma Basics of Advaita Vedanta Karthik Sharma Open Learning for All lecture series by Chinmaya Vidya Website Wisdom Library Internet Archives Indian Qanun. Thus ends the book reading of Chaturdasha Vidya Sthanani. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Sita Ramachandra Arpanamastu. Shri Sadgurunath